Just 3 months ago, she published a memoir titled This Is Me, A Reckoning, opening up more honestly than she ever had before about addiction, motherhood, and the weight of growing up in front of the entire world. She would have turned 37 this coming Friday. Instead, on the 16th of August 2026, Hayden Panettiere died at the age of 36. From a cheerleader with the power to heal herself, to a country music star belting out hits on primetime television, her on-screen characters often seemed unbreakable. Her real life, as she herself admitted, was far more complicated. Today we're telling the real story of Hayden Panettiere. The news was confirmed Sunday, August 16th, through a statement from her father, Alan Skip Panettiere, shared with ABC News and provided by her representative. He said it was with profound sadness that the family shared the tragic passing of their beloved Hayden, describing her as an incredible light and a force of nature who brought immeasurable love and joy to everyone who knew her and to the millions who watched her on screen. He asked for privacy as the family processed what he called an unimaginable loss. According to the Greenville Police Department in South Carolina, an acquaintance of Hayden's called 911 just before 2 p.m. on Sunday, August 16th, reporting an unresponsive female at an apartment complex where Hayden had reportedly been temporarily staying. Dispatch audio obtained by People and TMZ captured responders discussing the situation using the terms overdose and cardiac arrest. Emergency crews arrived and began advanced cardiac life support, but resuscitation efforts were unsuccessful, and Hayden was pronounced dead at the scene at 2:32 p.m. The Greenville County Coroner's Office confirmed that an autopsy was completed the following day, Monday, August 17th, stating that no signs of trauma were discovered that would have contributed to her death. However, officials were clear that a final cause and manner of death remain pending further investigation and additional toxicology studies, and police have said the preliminary investigation has not indicated any signs of foul play. Out of respect for that ongoing process, we won't speculate beyond what officials have confirmed. According to TMZ, Hayden had flown out of Los Angeles the day before her death, on Saturday, August 15th, alongside her on-and-off boyfriend Brian Hickerson, traveling to South Carolina. Reports note that Hayden had also abruptly cancelled a public appearance back in July, citing what her team described only as an emergency at the time. Tributes poured in quickly and emotionally from across Hollywood. Actress Viola Davis, who starred alongside Hayden in 2016's Custody, wrote that she was an amazing talent and an old, wise soul with a deep heart, adding that she wished the world had had more time with her. Selma Blair commented directly beneath Hayden's final Instagram post, shared back in July, writing, "I love you. Don't be gone. Don't be gone. Please." Melissa Barrera, her Scream 6 co-star, wrote simply, "Rest in peace, sweet Hayden." Podcaster Jay Shetty, who had spoken with Hayden in May about her sobriety journey and the loss of her brother, said he was in disbelief, remembering how special she was. The outpouring reflected just how many corners of the industry and how many different projects across 2 decades Hayden had touched throughout her career. Hayden Leslie Panettiere was born on the 21st of August 1989 in Palisades, New York, just north of New York City. Her mother, actress and stunt performer Leslie Vogel, began booking commercial work for her before she could even walk, and by the time she was 5 years old, Hayden had already landed a recurring role on the soap opera One Life to Live. Child stardom, in other words, wasn't something that happened to Hayden Panettiere later in life. It was the only life she ever really knew. Her breakout role came in 2000, playing Cheryl Yost opposite Denzel Washington in Remember the Titans, a performance that earned her a Young Artist Award. Throughout the 2000s, she built a steady career in film and television, appearing in projects like Ice Princess and I Love You, Beth Cooper, while also pursuing music, recording her first album at just 15 years old. Then, in 2006, everything changed. Hayden was cast as Claire Bennett, a self-healing cheerleader, in NBC's breakout hit series Heroes, a role built around the show's now iconic tagline, "Save the cheerleader, save the world." The role turned her into a household name almost overnight, earning her Teen Choice Award nominations and cementing her as one of the defining young stars of that television era. In 2012, Hayden took on what would become the defining role of her adult career, starring as Juliet Barnes, a brash, ambitious young country star, in ABC's musical drama, Nashville. She performed her own vocals throughout the series, and the show became a genuine crossover hit, spawning actual concert tours and placing 11 of her recorded songs on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart during its run. Her performance earned her 2 Golden Globe nominations for Best Supporting Actress. Hayden later returned to the horror genre that had also shaped part of her career, reprising her role as Kirby Reed in Scream 4 in 2011 and Scream 6 in 2023, becoming one of the few actors in franchise history to survive across multiple installments of the series. Behind the growing list of credits, though, Hayden Panettiere had been quietly struggling for years, and in the final chapter of her life, she chose to speak about it publicly and directly. She became a vocal, candid advocate for mental health awareness, opening up specifically about her experience with severe postpartum depression following the birth of her daughter in 2014. In her memoir, published just months before her death, she wrote with striking honesty about waking up already thinking about alcohol before she thought about her own child, describing needing a drink to function as early as 6 in the morning during the depths of her struggle. She also spoke publicly about undergoing trauma therapy and inpatient treatment in recent years, actively working to rebuild her life and her career at the same time. Hayden's personal life often played out under intense public scrutiny. She was previously in a long-term relationship with, and later engaged to, Ukrainian boxer Vladimir Klitschko, with whom she shares her only child, daughter Kaya Evdokia, now 11 years old. It's worth being direct here. Despite the framing of husband in some coverage, Hayden and Klitschko were never married, and the two separated years ago. In 2018, amid her own mental health struggles, Hayden made the difficult decision to give up custody of her daughter, a choice she later spoke about with real vulnerability in interviews, describing her relationship with Kaya as something she continued working on and cherishing even from a distance. She also had a well-documented on-and-off relationship with Brian Hickerson, who was convicted of physically abusing her, a chapter of her life she chose to write about openly in her memoir rather than keep hidden, in the hopes it might help others recognize similar patterns in their own lives. Hayden's family also endured devastating loss in recent years. In February of 2023, her younger brother, actor Jansen Panettiere, died unexpectedly at just 28 years old from complications related to an undiagnosed heart condition. Hayden spoke about that loss candidly on NBC's Today Show, describing how profoundly it shook her entire world to lose someone who had stood beside her through every major moment of her life. Friends and family have since described the loss of Jansen as a defining, deeply painful turning point in Hayden's final years. Beyond acting, Hayden used her platform for causes she cared about deeply. She served as a spokesperson for the Whaleman Foundation, an oceanic conservation organization, and appeared in The Cove, the Oscar-winning 2010 documentary exposing dolphin hunting practices in Japan. Her advocacy work earned her the Genesis Weiler Award from the Humane Society, recognition of a side of her public life that ran parallel to, and often outside of, her acting career entirely. Given the nature of her career, spanning more than 3 decades across film, television, and music, Hayden Panettiere's net worth has been estimated at approximately $25 million. Built through her extensive body of work in Heroes and Nashville, her film career, and music royalties from her recorded work. As with many of the figures we cover, this remains a public estimate rather than an officially confirmed number. Hayden Panettiere's story is, in many ways, a difficult but important one, about the real cost of growing up entirely in public view. She began working before she could walk, became a global name before she'd even reached adulthood, and spent her adult years processing trauma, addiction, and grief largely under a media spotlight that rarely allowed her real privacy to heal. What made her final years different was her decision to speak about all of it honestly, choosing vulnerability over the silence that so often surrounds struggles like hers, in the hope that her openness might genuinely help someone else going through something similar. Hayden Panettiere gave audiences over 3 decades of performances, from a young girl healing herself on primetime television to a country star belting out hits that became real chart successes, to a horror franchise heroine who survived across multiple films. Off-screen, in her final months, she gave something arguably more meaningful, an unflinching, honest account of her own struggles, in the hope of helping others feel less alone in theirs. She leaves behind her daughter Kaya, her father Alan, her mother Leslie, and millions of fans who grew up watching her on their screens. Rest in peace, Hayden. Thank you for your honesty, and for the light you brought to so many. If Hayden Panettiere's work, or her honesty about her own struggles, meant something to you, we'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment below sharing your favorite role of hers, or what her story means to you. And if you want more respectful, in-depth tributes to the people who shaped film and television, don't forget to subscribe to Your Star Facts.